I don't use any sunscreen ever.
Yeah, we know. We could see that.
Yeah, it's just a lot of sunlight coming in. Let me
a good
figure
thing.
out if I can block
Plenty of
this.
vitamin D.
You're all
It is
Caucasian, right? You're full Caucasian.
Full Caucasian.
Yep.
All the caulks
That's
are in me.
Caucus. It's really funny.
I'm full of white caulk.
Do you know that the root word of Caucasian is caucus?
And
Go on.
That's in Russia. The Caucasus are in Russia, so that means that technically all white people are Russian.
Nice.
I don't know. So someone will fact check it, but
yeah, let me Google that. So I'm Russian.
Google it. Right. Sounds like all of us are. I think if we're all Caucasian. I don't identify as Caucasian.
This is episode 130 probably at some point.
Thanks,
and Aram has referenced being Russian 97% of those episodes.
Yeah, because it's called.
And I love it.
It's called national pride.
That's right.
Oh, that sounds really white supremacist. And
I am a real American.
You see this?
Yeah.
It means
Ryan,
not welcome.
What is your father's heritage again, Ryan?
Lebanese.
Lebanese.
Yep. So I am Middle Eastern.
Are you upset that you don't look more Lebanese?
Honestly, from what I've been told, a lot of Lebanese people kind of look like me.
They do.
Like very blonde.
It's like the Northern Italian thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, am I upset I look like a white boy from Connecticut too? I guess not.
I mean, it has its perks.
It sure does.
when you're driving around, you don't get pulled over for no reason.
That's right.
Tell us about some of the other perks, Ryan,
of being
being a white man in America.
A white guy from Connecticut.
The fuck podcast am I?
Tell us what life would be like if you weren't a white guy.
Well, it's quite sweaty here in San Diego. Actually.
Yeah. What do you say there?
What do you say? Yeah. How is it there?
Can you describe what it would feel like to be a black trans man?
Rob, just tell us about your life.
Yeah, go ahead.
I identify as a black trans woman.
Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I'm just hoping to get the benefits at some point soon.
So you guys were both living in Connecticut at the same time.
We
How
were.
does that feel?
Probably, yeah.
Weird.
How far apart were you? Let's find that out. How far apart were you?
Like physically? Where were you? You were.
Yeah, not emotionally, Aram.
No, geographically, because he was in New York for a while. That's when we were.
Well, I lived in Connecticut from
1994
to 2020.
Oh, so the whole time I was there.
Yeah.
So
when you moved to,
I was in Cheshire from 95 to 2007.
Yeah.
And then Stanford from 7 to 21.
Yeah. So I moved to Brooklyn a week before COVID happened. So
that was perfect timing.
Yeah, I went to the best
worst
place on earth.
What? Tell us about that.
That was it was definitely an experience because has been living in my mom's basement all before that, right? So leaving
free
the
rent
nest for the first time. Yep, free rent.
You're like, I finally have freedom, and now I have less freedom.
No freedom.
So then when I moved to Brooklyn, I moved because I got hired by Fox News to be their personal trainer. And I was like super excited. I was like, this is very cool, like great opportunity. And then they're like 6 months later, you're laid off. And I was like,
so how did that opportunity come about?
That was so I had a friend who worked for the company, and I met her through Jordan Syatt's inner circle, and she knew I was trying to move to New York City because Jordan Syatt's like, hey, get your ass out of your mom's basement and do something. I was like, okay, here we go. So then she just reached out and she's like, hey, like, you're a good trainer. There's an opening here. Do you want to apply for it? I was like, okay. So I went to like 4 different interviews, going like by train and all that. And yeah, they hired me, and then I got all my shit together, got packed, got an apartment in Brooklyn, and then literally like a week later, the whole world shut down. I was like,
Were you still working during COVID at Fox News or no?
They had me. Well, they paid, like, praise to them. Like, they paid me for like 6 months.
But there was nothing to do.
without anything for me to do. And then they laid us off, right? So, but during
Well, that's
that whole
nice.
time,
That's
it was
nice.
great. During
Why
the whole
weren't you-
time, though, it was
why
like
didn't
the
you do-
first time I had dedicated to my business forever because I was working like 4 or 5 different jobs at a time when I was doing it before.
Yep.
So I was like, that's really when I was just like, all right, fuck it, like let's go all in on this.
Which job over the course of your life, Aram? If you could eat louder, that'd be great. If you could just scrape the fucking spoon even harder in that bowl.
At least
God,
you
you
know
have
he's getting his protein.
no
in,
respect
right?
for the guests. You know what I mean?
He lives 4 minutes. He should be here at my apartment doing this with me.
You should be. At
That's
my
true.
apartment, you bitch.
Yeah. What's wrong with you guys?
bitch.
What of all the jobs you've had? What is
Yeah.
what's one that you're like, this one just sucked? Did you ever have one that you're like, this sucks, or did you just not mind?
I had one where I sucked at. It was just,
Okay.
I worked for this
Just one?
place in just one.
Oh, good.
I worked at this one in Monroe. It was called Monroe, Connecticut. It was called
Monroe.
Soup Time, and I was a food prep. And
No soup for you.
oh yeah, and I was just like literally they called me. I literally got demoted to dishwasher because they're like, you work like a turtle. Like you work so slow.
How are
And
you? How are you such a fast athlete and such a slow employee?
it makes sense when you never really know how to cut a butternut squash before. It's just like
True.
And you're shredding like steaming hot chicken that's going into broth. It's just like I was just like I don't know. So I got demoted to dishwasher, and then they're like, "You're slow at that." so they slowly like once I went back to like sports for the season, they like just phased me out.
What sports were you excelling at back in the day?
Football. Football was like the big one in high school.
He's very good. He's very good. I can attest to that.
So it's funny though, because like in high school, like I was okay. I was more like just the guy that worked my ass off in the gym and the runs and like pushed everybody. But like I was okay at football in high school, right? Like I was captain of the football team really just because like I just showed up, did the work, and like held everybody else accountable. But
You guys
like,
had a good. You guys had a great football program in your town.
yeah, we won states a couple
Yeah.
times. Massive football rules.
I'm sitting there when you said one states. I'm just picturing Al Bundy.
That's right.
Massic was very good.
Yeah, we
was
were
very
just
good.
a bunch of little small white kids that just were playing football.
The Valley. They produced a lot of great athletes in the
Yeah,
Valley.
The
they-
Valley. Now I'm picturing Cobra Kai.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
talk over.
I won the Valley tournament.
Yeah,
Karate
There's a-
Kid.
a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of parallels. But yeah, so that was kind of like the sport I was excelling at. Like I played baseball before that, but yeah, I switched to football, and yeah, that's kind of when I fell in love with fitness and all that. Was like in the weight room and all that.
Were you there when Aram made it 7 minutes into a football game? Is that how you?
It was because of him.
Oh yeah,
My Achilles tore
tough.
because of Ryan Kassim.
It really is. It's because I
Invited me to play.
invited him to
Yeah.
play football. Well, you wanted to play.
I
Let's
did.
make that very
I
clear.
did. I
This
did.
wasn't a peer pressure
It
situation.
wasn't peer pressure.
I
I was just like, I'm
mean-
playing flag, and he's like,
He was
"Oh,
like,
dude,
you know,
you think I could play on
the
Sunday
guy
with you guys?"
the guy tore this hamstring last week, so we need somebody to fill in. So you know,
So, but it wasn't a hard like twisting his arm. He was just
no,
like,
no, I was
He's
was
like, I'm
excited.
jacked.
I was excited.
He's like, I do sprint
excited.
intervals regularly. This is
Yeah.
right up my alley.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
every 7 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just remember like being on the field and like looking at him because I was like, oh, I need a sub. I was like, I'm getting a little fatigued here, and he's
Yeah.
just like sitting in that lawn chair. He's just like,
Nope.
like hand waving it next to the neck. He's like, no go, dude. I'm like, and then after like halftime, he's like,
We're out.
we're done.
We're
I
out.
was like, fuck.
We're out. Career's over.
He had a
Career's-
nice catch though before he got
yeah.
injured.
Yeah, career
Like
started
during-
and then career ended.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. That's how you do it, man. You get in and out.
I mean, look
Yeah.
at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers played 75 seconds of football last season and made $60
Yeah.
million bucks. I mean,
How much did you make, Aram?
I paid $70.
You paid 70 and played 7 minutes.
Yeah, and then I
That's right. You did pay money.
and then I paid $4,500 for the surgery, or no, $8,000 for the surgery. So
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. $8,000 for an
so yeah,
Achilles repair.
so that 7 minutes of football cost me $8,100 essentially.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
But
that's
you
the
know what? It was
best
worth-
investment. Oh, dude, the
was worth the
Instagram content,
experience.
Instagram content was priceless.
Yeah, without that, there'd be no justification to post a picture of you naked in the shower.
Nope.
Right.
So much good pity. I mean, priceless. I would have paid $16,000 for that type of exposure.
Right. Right.
You know, people are doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads. I got free advertising just for being injured.
Just by giving a little back.
That's it.
Soft tissue.
I feel like this is maybe we just fake an injury next time for the same kind of press.
Well, and how about the fact that the airport, I was able to constantly just get on any Southwest flight in the front, not have to wait for seating. I was getting treated like the
way you should be,
invalid that I was, and it was fantastic.
No,
that's when
finally
Southwest comes in clutch when you're first to go.
Yeah, just wear either a boot or a crutch. Just wear something to where it will signify that you can't be a normal person. A wheelchair, I think, is too much because that then they have to actually help you. But if you have some type of an actual physical limitation, milk it for all it's worth.
Can I just say, this is my first threesome podcast.
Really? We have done over 100 threesomes.
That's right.
That's all we do is threesomes. We don't even know how to. We don't even know
please each other anymore.
Normal partnerships work.
I'm trying to be like, who gives, who sits back, who gives, who sits back.
We just figured it out.
Yeah, we interrupt each other as much as we can.
Oh, you moved, Jimmy. You moved. It looks good.
I tried to shift thinking the computer screen would like block the sun, and it's not.
There.
It's not even sunburned. It's just this window is making me very red. He knows I've looked like this before. I'm like, I'm not even sunburned.
You look like an Irish firefighter who's been drinking for at least 3 years.
Yeah, I look like a disaster. Like I'm looking at myself like, oh.
Like if anybody has like that uncle that you know is consistently just an alcoholic, that's what Jimmy looks like right now.
I look like I was on Dennis Leary's fire squad.
Exactly.
They call that jaundice, actually.
No, he's not yellow.
Definitely not yellow. Yeah.
He's 100%.
It's that alcoholic red with the bulbous nose that happens. That whole thing.
Yeah, that little
Caucasian flush, as they say.
Oh yeah. Like what was the movie with Dan Aykroyd where his nose looked like a penis?
Was that
Ghostbusters?
No.
Oh God, what was that movie?
Was that with the? Yes, I know exactly.
He's like the judge.
Yeah. God,
Tupac is in it. Tupac is in it.
No, not Tupac.
No, Tupac is. They both are.
Humpty Dumpty and Tupac.
Humpty Dumpty. Tupac's in that scene as well. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah, look it up. What's Rogan's assistant? Jamie. Jamie, look that up. Jamie, look that up. Nobody.
Yep.
Filmography.
Yeah, nobody.
Dan Aykroyd.
Just put movie Dan Aykroyd nose penis.
And Tupac. Nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble. I knew
So
it was like
good.
Nobody. Nah. Yeah, Ryan. That's
what a great
that's your
cast.
homework.
Chevy Chase, John Candy.
Yeah.
Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Demi Moore.
All right, I know what I'm watching this weekend.
Yeah. Dude, it is twisted.
It's a really good movie. I forgot about that. It was
Twisted.
so good. Yeah.
Remember the twins, the big baby twins, the super fat, greasy, oily baby twins?
Yeah.
They were like adult, giant, fat, greasy, slimy twins that walked around in diapers.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
It was such a weird movie. It was almost like, you ever seen Big Trouble in Little China with Kurt Russell?
Yeah, forever ago. That one I feel like I want to watch again.
That's a great movie.
Ryan's like,
these are a little before your
this
time.
This is before my time.
A little before it, not super before your
I thought
time.
I was pretty like in the know, but I guess there's some 80s movies I definitely missed.
Yeah, this is.
What are you, early 30s, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
1991.
Nice. 91.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting
You
hair.
suck your youth.
I was getting. Let me get some of that adrenochrome.
So Ryan was like the yellow card taking back Sunday crowd
Fuck
for a very long time.
Yeah, that was my teenage
Well,
years, baby.
that's what my 20s, and I still liked them.
I fucked.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Little
Not like
dispatch.
Dispatch,
dude.
Guster,
The
Guster,
General.
yeah. OAR.
Dave Matthews.
OAR.
See,
Yeah, Dave Matthews in Connecticut was huge.
Oh my God! Did you ever go up to the Meadows for that?
Yeah.
Flip cars
Shit
and
show, dude.
drink Bud Lights all weekend until you get arrested. That's what happened. The first time I ever got popped was at the Meadows.
First time. We got to break that sentence down. There's so many layers to it. First time,
It gets so much
which
worse.
obviously assumes more. Got popped, which means it's definitely more than twice. You got arrested twice. You're not using phrases like "got popped."
Right, it's a hard,
Yeah,
he's hardcore.
yeah. That's an experienced individual to start using street phrases for getting arrested. Never in my life has it ever crossed my mind to use the word "popped."
Have you never been arrested before?
That's how you know he's Cheshire.
Me?
Huh? You said Cheshire, Connecticut.
I've never never been arrested.
Not once.
No,
Not even.
Once,
Not even detained.
Oh wait, I forgot about that one time. Oh, and the other time.
No,
Oh,
but
that
we,
time
we,
you
we,
got
we,
popped?
No,
like, nothing like. What about you, Ryan? Never.
No, dude.
No,
I thought that was
the
like
closest,
a rite of passage for a man.
yeah, the closest I ever, the scariest, which was still not scary at the end of the day, was when I was living in your guys' town, San Diego, after college, and
Yeah,
drove
PB.
drove down to Tijuana or Puerto Vallarta.
No, you were in Tijuana. You did not drive down.
No, I
That would've-
went past about 45 minutes or so.
Oh, so Puerto Vallarta is like 7 hour.
Okay, so never mind. What would be a place that would be cool past Tijuana?
Rosarita.
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah.
So we're down there, and the cops just like, and the one dude knows. He's like, they'll just pull you over and search you for drugs. Like
Really?
they're just trying to find something, and then if they find something, they just want you to pay them off. Like here's $50,
They just
100
charge
bucks,
you. Yeah.
and they let you go. So dude, these guys pulled us out of the car, and they are patting us down aggressively. Like the girls that were in the car too, same thing, just like aggressively patting us down up against the car. That was the closest I ever felt to that. I also got very aroused.
Did you have anything on you?
No.
Nothing at all.
Just that cocaine.
Nothing at all. You said? Oh, now that you phrase it that way, Aram. Yes,
Nothing.
I
in the,
did have-
nothing in the
He's
wheel well.
He's
Nothing?
a real detective, this Jerome. Huh?
it's like when you call a place and
nothing
like,
at
yeah, what's the soonest that you can come out to provide this service or like fix my car, or whatever? We're actually 2 weeks out. There's nothing sooner. Actually, there is. We save those spots for people like you who say there's nothing sooner.
That's right. A nice follow.
Yeah. No, we didn't have anything. I think one dude bought like a bong down there,
A bomb.
but a bong or something like that. But there was
piece.
nothing. Yeah, he bought a piece. So there was nothing there's nothing illegal about that
Nothing
or anything like
poppable.
that. Nothing
That
poppable.
experience.
Paraphernalia is always so exciting to me because that's like something's about to go down. It's going to be fun, but it's not fun yet.
Tell us about your most exciting pop.
I got
My
arrested.
pop.
I got arrested at a Britney Spears concert.
That's
Wow. I feel like
Yeah.
that needs to be a t-shirt. It just
No.
says, I got arrested at a Britney Spears shirt, a Britney Spears concert. Underneath it says, that's for real. It's true. This actually happened. It's small print.
Follow my logic here. So 15 years old. You're
Oh,
looking for-
God, there's so many issues I have with this.
15-year-old
15
Russian man.
You're looking.
at
boy.
Britney Spears.
You're looking. You know where the chicks are going. They're going to the Britney Spears concert. So obviously, if you're trying to mingle with some chicks, you go to the same concert.
Was it hard to pick up chicks with how much you were screaming when she came out on stage?
I never made it in.
And
I
when
never
you
made
started
it
to
in.
cry?
I got arrested in the parking lot. You remember the Meadows, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
There's all those satellite parking lots, but then there was the main lot, which was you had to park at and then walk up to the front door where they take your tickets. Well, my idiot friend decided let's park as close to the front as we can, where the largest police presence was. And
Wait. You got popped twice at the Meadows.
no, once at the Meadows and then once in New Haven,
Okay. Go
and then detained.
This was the first time you got popped.
Yes.
So the worst time was the first time.
No, the second time was the worst time. I spent a lot more
Oh.
time. I didn't even have to go anywhere for this one. This was just a summons to appear. This was easy. This was because I was underage, and back then.
Are you telling us the Britney now or the second
This is
one?
Brittany. No, this is Brittany.
Oh, okay.
So this is the cop drove around. We have the trunk just starting to open. We're pulling beers out of the back of the trunk. Driver was 16. Two other guys in the car were 16. I was 15. Another kid was 15. So the 16-year-olds got actually physically arrested, detained, cuffed, and then put into a wagon. Because the law in Connecticut at that point was you had to actually go to jail, not prison, but jail that day. Then they would release you by the end of the day, and then you'd have to come back to go to court. But if you were under 16, you just got a promise to appear.
Okay.
So I had to promise to appear, and I ended up we had to leave because obviously our driver got arrested.
That was such a disinteresting story to me.
And then they poured all of our booze out, so now we're fucking sitting there. We have no car
very
because we have nobody to drive us home, and now we have to tell our parents somehow because there was no cell phones back then. How we're going to get back?
Phones then.
So the second time was much more interesting. I broke a window, and then I got into an altercation, and then I.
How do you say that without painting a picture? Ryan, can you teach him how to tell stories? I broke a window. I want to hear
how he does it.
It's at night.
I was never.
I'm at a house.
I was never asked to paint a picture. I was just giving.
It's
you
a
small
very
details.
very Rom way to paint it. He,
I broke
hits you
a
with these
window.
Things, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Why were you breaking the window? Was this a home? Was this a business? Was this a vehicle?
It was the window of a nightclub that I then later would work at to pay off my debt for breaking the window.
Okay.
And
you were trying to get in or trying to get out?
I was,
or just breaking it.
I was summoned from the other side of the window in the middle of the winter by a gal that had taken an interest in me, and she.
You were outside or inside?
I was on the outside of the window. It was in December, so it was cold in Connecticut, and we had left one bar, and I was 20 at the time, but I had a fake ID on me. So she had summoned me from inside the window. So me being led by my penis, as I usually am, I walked up to the window and I motioned back that I was going to see you in there. And then as I was slapping my hands against the window shattered because obviously I'm super strong. And my friend who was with me, who I didn't know was a heroin addict at the time, had heroin on him. So he started to run. And as he ran around the corner, two police officers were smoking cigarettes. They saw the running. They heard the glass. They saw the running. They didn't have to be fucking detectives to put it together. So they chased after him and then pulled him out of the car. And then they pulled me out of the car, threw me in a paddy wagon. I spent the next 18 hours in lockup, and my parents had to get me out. So that was fun.
All right, let's get started with the episode. Welcome back to the Other Side Lifestyle Podcast with Jim and Aram. Today we have our friend Ryan Kassim on Instagram. He is Body by Ryan Fitness. Is that correct?
One of the best accounts, I think, in all of Instagram.
Now, you guys don't know this, but we were just talking for like 20 minutes. And we felt bad. We were wasting a lot of Ryan's time. We were just talking about Aram getting arrested and all that. Obviously, you just heard all that because it is part of the episode, and I'm pretending like we're just starting. It's very dramatic.
Where am I?
I think this is the way to do it, Aram.
Do you want to talk about? Yeah,
no, this is the way. I like
this. Best format we've had.
Where I do I like this. This is the new go-to. We started just kind of recording. And then I was like doing maybe an intro later on. We just started doing that, but I like this where it's like I do the old school intro right in the middle of it. I think might be 3 minutes in, might be 10, might be 23.
I think Ryan appreciates
like conversation.
Yeah, you were here,
fun. And I know that you're big on foreplay, so this works.
I'm huge on foreplay.
Exactly. Foreplay.
Some would say foreplay is everything.
To me, I can't get past foreplay. So
you can't make it the 5 play.
It's never.
He pops. He gets popped.
Popped. I get super worked up, and then it's foreplay turns into a nap.
A nap. Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, listen. I've always been a power athlete. I'm not an endurance athlete.
And Ryan, understand what Ryan doesn't know is ejaculation does not occur. He's exhausted. No. This isn't fucking Christmas miracle season over here. Okay. So it is foreplay, exhaustion, nap, wake up, masturbate to ejaculation, go to work.
Right.
That's the cycle. I just
do a podcast.
Yeah.
Wakes up, order Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, wakes up with sun chips and crumble cookie in his chest hair.
You just described literally the best day of my life. Like if there's
crumble harvest cheddar sun chips,
garden salsa.
I'm gonna start next year's Real Coaches Summit with a video of that in a time lapse. And that's how we're gonna get it.
No, dude, like an indoor camera in one place, and you just act out the most absurd thing. There's a blurred scene where you're just like
cranking away. Oh man, that'd be so good.
And then it's like regular speed, and you can hear you being like, "Hey, This crumbled cookie's a little light on icing. I'll take care of it. Yum, 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 yum.
Don't have time for meal prep?
Yeah.
What do you do with your time?
Yeah, tell us about your meal prep, Ryan.
I don't.
Nice.
I don't.
That's bullshit. I watch you do it every day on Instagram.
I'm sponsored by Just Meats. Shout out.
Oh God, I gotta reach out to that lady. I want
Yeah.
some meat in my life.
But they send me a bunch of meat, and I just pretty much do salad kits and frozen veggies
And that's it, just meats.
and avocado toast for breakfast with some cottage cheese.
Will they sponsor a guy with 5,000 followers?
Probably not.
Probably.
Not. Probably. Thanks, guys.
Not
Like angel devil.
not a fucking alcoholic Trump supporter who sits in his garage.
With a bulbous red nose.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just ordered a Wu-Tang is forever like election sign.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Obviously.
Ryan, you know who Wu-Tang is, right?
Yeah. Hip hop bands.
You know who Wu-Tang is. Yeah, man. So what's going on?
Jesus.
He was in DC for a little while.
I was just in DC, in our nation's capital.
Yeah, he was.
Awesome.
He sat on Abraham Lincoln's lap. I saw that.
I did, man.
And monument.
Love that,
You
man.
sat on the top of the monument. How far down did you get on that?
All the way. Mama didn't raise no bitch. Shout out to my mom. She'll probably be listening to this.
Thank you, Aram, for laughing so quickly. I did not know if that was going to stick. I didn't know if I was going to stick the landing on that one.
That was a deep throat joke for anybody who's
That was
paying
I
attention.
thought it was a
Or a deep
anal
butt joke. Yeah, it was anal.
anal.
Either way, you
It
laughed.
was anal.
It was anal. Yeah.
We just revealed my preference.
Foreplay.
See? I don't ever go full penetration. I'm done before that happens.
Oh God, this
Way
is so
finished.
disturbing.
You hung out with our friend Jason Phillips over the weekend?
I did.
How was that?
Who else was there? Anybody else we know? Any other cast of characters?
Beth Faraka was
Farrak's was there. Oh,
there. Farrak's was there.
You saw Susan
I saw
Niebergall?
Susan Niebergall,
Yeah.
my girl.
Her birthday's today. Shout out to
It
Susan.
is. I sent her a text today. But yeah, so I saw a couple people, and it was great, dude. I went sightseeing on Sunday, so all the monuments I went to. Worked out with Susan that day. Got lunch with her.
Does she live there? She lives
She
there,
lives
right?
in Virginia. Yeah. And then Monday, Tuesday was like workshop days for business, so that was kind of cool.
So how did you tackle the travel nutrition? Because I think that's an issue that a lot of our listeners tend to have, and other people
Snore.
No, let's provide a little bit of help for people instead of just talking about how loose my butthole is.
Well, for me, it's like, I don't know. I'm very aware of like, I'm only there for like 3 days, 2 nights, pretty much. So I was just like,
how much damage can you do?
I'm not going to do a lot of damage, but I did like on the plane ride there, I packed like fucking protein bars and all that shit. And like, just because I can't survive off of pretzels, right? They give you that little fucking bag of pretzels.
Tiny. Were you, what flight, what airline were you on?
I'm Alaska, baby. I'm Alaskan man.
Oh yeah. That's
like
one of the only options.
Blow off. Yeah.
Why? What did that happen to an Alaska flight?
It happened. Yeah.
Wait, seriously? A door flew off? When?
Yeah, it blew right off. That happened about a couple of months ago.
Holy shit! That wasn't like national news, or did I miss it?
It was. No, I saw that. I just didn't know it was Alaskan. But yeah, I saw that.
The door just came off, like off the hinges, or like somebody opened it.
In San Diego somewhere.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Ram's like, that's what that sound was.
I saw. I was my dogs were barking at something. I didn't realize what it was.
My dogs are barking my feet. But yeah, so I mean, that's how I mean, for me, it was like there were some nights where I was like, oh, like when I went sightseeing, I got lost and I stumbled upon like this fisherman's wharf, and there was all this fresh seafood.
I saw
and they were
that.
Like, we'll do some fried fish for you. I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up. So I'm very like, I know I'm not gonna. This is like a one-time thing for this trip. Like this is a beautiful view. Like I'm by myself. This is some great like sightseeing. I was just like, fuck it, let me get some fried fish, and then like the rest of my day, I try to balance it off with like my next meal or like focus on protein. So it's like, I don't know. I just keep it very simple and don't beat myself up and enjoy the moment. And, you know, I still worked out. I still got tons of steps in every day.
Yep.
So I think for most people who are like traveling and all that shit, when it comes to your nutrition, is just like, what's your intention? That's what I always tell my clients, like,
Yeah,
what's your intention? Define your intention if it is like to be on track or if it's just to enjoy it. And then from there, your actions follow. Super simple.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've definitely eaten different when traveling. It used to be more of a shit show.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
God.
traveling.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get this, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, I don't want to shit myself.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Or on
I don't want to.
Or
Yeah,
eat
like
shit.
I don't want to ruin. Yeah, like I don't want to ruin my day just feeling sluggish and tired and
Yeah.
upset stomach. Like I tend to eat really well now,
Yeah.
but I wasn't doing that probably 5 years ago or more. It's more so been the last few years. I noticed it's such a, like what you said, intention. You know, and people struggle with that, and it's like if you can just wrap your head around, I don't have to prepare this. I'm out socializing. I'm having fun. And I can eat things that make me actually feel well digestively, and I can still have energy throughout the day. It doesn't have to be, I'm in Nashville. I got to get, this place got the best deep fried chicken sandwich. I have to get it. And then it's like, I've never been blown away either.
No.
By that kind of stuff. I've never been like, that was the best deep fried chicken sandwich. I've just never been blown away.
Typically the viral cuisine, quote unquote, of any location is usually going to be some garbage food anyway. It's going to be some fucking gut bomb that is going to sit with you for the next 12 hours and you're not going to feel well. As opposed to like if you went into like a local restaurant and they were known for something, whatever it is, I don't know. Like New York is a great example. You have all the cuisine in the world in one city. You could spend a lifetime trying all the great food in New York and you would never be able to get to the end of it.
They got the best street hot dogs.
But like if you want to try a street hot dog, okay, do it. Like, it's not going to be a big fucking deal.
I want to try all of them.
Yeah, have every single cart because that one says the best one, then that one says it's the best one, and that one.
That's like Elf. Congratulations! What? World's best cup of coffee.
But that's on the fucking front door of every pizza shop and every sandwich place and every coffee shop in New York. So like, I was at when you were in DC, I was down in Florida, and
I was home.
Pretty easy to eat down there, man. It's fucking seafood, it's vegetables. Like you could obviously make the shittier choice if you wanted to. Lord knows, my mother didn't pull any punches. She's like fish and chips, load them up.
Fuck yeah.
Every fucking meal of the day. I don't know what is like. My mother just loves fish and chips. She loves fried seafood and she loves potato chips. So I mean, or French fries. I don't blame her. I love French fries too. I don't love the fried fish thing though.
I don't mind the fried fish for fish and chips. Other fried seafood, no.
You don't like it.
I would only get fried seafood if it's like that flounder, like that fish and chips kind of thing.
Flaky, like on the inside, flaky, crusty. What about like a calamari?
Yeah. For that, yes. I forgot about that.
The calamari.
Yeah, and like I'll do like fried shrimp or fried scallops or fried. No, I'm just kidding.
Fried mussels.
But besides that.
What a piece of shit.
Basically, you don't.
No, the calamari. I forgot about the calamari.
I love fried shrimp. That's great.
So you only eat seafood if it's deep fried and basted in something.
Yeah, no. The calamari and that fish and chips type flounder thing. Other than that, no.
Got it. Grilled or steamed or sautéed.
I don't know.
Blackened.
I don't know. There's a lot of questions.
Are we allowed to say that anymore?
Can we talk to Ryan? Ryan, what?
What are your feelings on black seafood?
Jesus. Oh God, I had the worst thing to say right now, and I'm not going to say it.
Oh, please share it with the class.
No,
you're leaving. You're leaving high school soon enough. You're not going to get.
There's a 0% chance. Ryan, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. Ryan, tell us. We're going to shift here. It's a great segue. It's not a segue at all. What? Is there anything right now that you're kind of excited about with either your coaching, with either the fitness space, things that either you're learning or seeing or that you want to be a part of? Besides my friendship.
I really like your friendship.
I really like your friendship.
For me, it's like, I don't know. I think I'm very similar to you, Jim. And then also, I mean, Rob too. I think like I get very bored with the normal nutrition stuff. I get very bored with the fitness aspect of the industry. I've become much more over the years. I've become much more fascinated and passionate about the mindset that goes into everything behind it, just because that's been my journey with mental health and you know, how I approach my clients. So it's like, for me, it's like when I see, and I'll do nutrition fitness content like everybody else, but like it's like when I see so much of it, I'm just like, I don't fucking care. Like I'm just like, I get it. Like I understand. Like nothing changes, you know. But it's like how
your
people...
post on protein is going to be the one that makes people get it.
That's
right,
it.
Exactly, exactly, right.
Has
But
there been any information that you've seen that's been new for you or novel? Like have you seen anything come out as far as research or an article or something you heard in passing where you're like, oh, I actually did not know that?
I'll be very candid. I really don't fucking read articles too much anymore. I'm very grateful. Like at this point, I know who to follow who breaks down all that stuff. Right. Like I'm the kid in class that like again, I think Jimmy, when you and I talked on our podcast, like I always very much love the educators who make things simple and fun or add their own spin to it, their own personality. And now I understand it.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's why I love doing what I do, because like it's like I might break down protein in a way that like just you fucking get it because I did it in like a goofy fucking accent, right?
Yeah.
It's just like it's nothing.
Get your protein, get your protein here.
Get your protein here, get your glizzies, soft boiled hot dogs on the New York streets. But it's just like it's like for me, so like it's like there's nothing I would say groundbreaking. Like I love that like there's more research on like as we age, like it as long as your protein's in check and your strength training's in check, like you're gonna be fucking fine. And like that's something I've seen with my geriatric clients that I'll train in person. So it's like it's cool to see it applied, but like I mean there's nothing really I'm just like, oh that's fucking cool, because it's like that's not what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about like how can I get somebody to this point where they are right now, right? Like that's my passion.
What stuff when it comes to that do you find, have you been consciously doing anything? Because I know like for years it's like it's just conversations, and even Aram, when we had that conversation with Will for episode 100, it was like, do you have a system to take people through this? And it made him start thinking later, he's like, I do need to come up with some kind of a system versus I'm just using my intuition, I'm listening, I'm having the conversation and then responding. Do you find yourself doing that, or do you have a specific strategy?
I mean, from my experience and like therapy and all that, there really isn't like a strategy. It's just like it's conversation. I think the big strategy is like when you're a coach, your job is to meet the person where they are right now, right? So if somebody is struggling with the mindset of something certain or specific, it's meeting them where at so they take them to the next step, right? Like that's like the first thing I tell my clients. I'm like, your ideal self is here, right? But you are right here. So you're trying, the reason you keep self-sabotaging, the reason you keep going, stay in this cycle of the same patterns, because you keep trying to jump from this point to this point, right? Where my job as your coach is to bring you right to the next step. So there's no, I wouldn't say there's like specific strategies. I mean, it really does come down to just like, am I listening to them? Am I creating a safe space for them? Do they feel like they can be vulnerable? And do they feel like they can communicate? Are they communicating everything that they feel like they need to? So it's really not like a strategy or process. I mean, I think that's just really what it comes down to. Like the best coaches aren't trying to fix right away. They're just trying to understand and listen. Right.
You can't really fix anything because nothing's really broken.
I love Jeb's post this past week. He was like, I think it was Jeb. It was fitness coaches. Your metabolism's not broken. I can help fix it. Like how?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I saw that.
Like that whole thing. Like your metabolism's not fixed. Your metabolism's not broken. You know, reach out to me. I can help you fix it. Blah blah blah. Like you can hear people saying that. It's so funny.
Yep.
I think if anything, maybe the systems are broken, or maybe there's just a lack of systems. That's really what it comes down to. It's not that anything is actually wrong.
Well, it's responding to the way that you've been treating it. So it's not.
I'm not even referencing the metabolism. I'm just saying like the
terrible.
The system at which you like live your life. Like, do you have a routine?
Yeah.
Do you have a bedtime? Do you have a morning time? Like, do you have things in your life that are actually like grounded and stable.
Yeah.
Or are you just living every fucking day like you have no idea what's coming next, and that's why you're struggling?
If every day is Aram's Thursday, it's not a good life.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yeah.
No, he's gotten better with the Thursdays. I don't know how it's been lately. We haven't talked about it, but
Very good.
good. Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Damn it. I was going to ask Ryan Ryan.
Yeah.
The people that the self-sabotage, we'll just call it that, the self-sabotagers. Like, typically we'll say like, oh, the people that are really struggling with this are never quite make it to the other side. They never quite make it to the other side. They're constantly struggling. They're the self-sabotager. Is there something that you see consistently in the conversations with those people?
Oh yeah. It's everybody confuses self-confidence with self-worth, right? So like how I attribute self-confidence is like photos or paintings on a wall of your house. Like it looks very pretty, it makes like the house look nice. But your self-worth is the foundation of that house, right? And when it comes to people who self-sabotage, what I've found and conversation I've had is that they're tying their weight loss to their self-worth. They're tying them attracting a person in their life or external validation or things like that to this goal. But it is your self-worth, like your perceived, it's basically like your glass ceiling, right? Like what you perceive your ability to accomplish something is your self-worth, right? And if somebody's glass ceiling is always like, oh, like I truly don't believe I'm going to accomplish this, you're just living in the same Groundhog Day of self-sabotage, right? So that's like the biggest conversation I have with clients like I'm onboarding or I'm talking to is like, you really don't believe you can do this, right?
I
And
couldn't agree with you more about that.
The first step for you creating actual change, and actual change just look like going for that walk that day, right, is your perception of success, right? And once somebody accomplishes something, now their self-worth increases. That glass ceiling raises up a little bit higher, right? So I think the reason people self-sabotage is because of their perception that they really don't believe they're going to succeed.
It's funny you say it because literally, like what Parks and Rec, what's his name, Rob Lowe? Literally today, I was getting out of the shower. Calm down, Rob. Jesus Christ. Get out of the shower. And I was thinking about something, my future or whatever, thinking about stuff. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. And then so I have the thought, instantly think that's ridiculous, and then instantly think, why? Why not?
Like that's ridiculous as in I can't do that?
Yeah, like it's just, it's ridiculous. And it wasn't even some extravagant thought of my future. It was just like, that's ridiculous. Just, you're fine. Like whatever, the instant thought of decreasing yourself in size, was there. And then instantly I was like, well, why not? And I'm seeing that happening more and more in life as I'm doing, my own work with things and my perception on everything. So it's funny that you say that because just today was one of the first times I caught myself saying that's ridiculous, but then also instantly catching myself saying, why not? Like, who are we to say that we can't do something? Right. We are the ones who say we can't do something, but who are, to think that what a terrible way to go through life.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, as I say, I like that you had that thought process, and I like that you were aware that this was a negative thought, and this is a thought that is demeaning or telling myself I can't do something, and then
shrinking.
It, right?
Yeah, that was the
so
word.
I think the
shrinking myself. I was like making myself smaller, shrinking myself. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think a big quote that's resonated with me recently is that your thoughts are like clothing, right? Like you could change them at any time.
Yep.
And I think that is such like a simple but powerful way to look at the narratives that we tell ourselves every day. And I really love what you did, because for some people, like the habit of tearing themselves down, like that's ingrained.
And that's where the conversation ends.
Right.
And then you move on and continue your stagnant life that you're miserable with. Because every time a thought for something greater comes up, you squash it and then you complain.
Yeah, exactly. But your ability in that moment to change your thought pattern, that's progress, right? And that's really what we're trying to get people to do is recognize negative thought that came to my mind, insert thought that takes me to where I'm trying to go, right? Like that is progress. In essence, that is progress. You took yourself out of the rabbit hole and brought yourself back to the present and where you're trying to go, back on track, right? That's what we say, like, get back on track. That's exactly what we mean. So that's amazing.
Are there
Which
things that you do with people where you find that they're really struggling with the self-worth, or is it just through conversation? And are there any specific exercises you might do with someone to try to help them find more self-worth, like squats or lunges?
Well, I think for me, it's I'll speak from like my approach to it and then what I'll do with clients. But like my approach to improve my self-worth over the years was like obviously therapy, right? So like recognizing and creating awareness to your thought patterns and your beliefs, right? I think that's like step number one, because we always say like you can't fix a problem if you don't know what the problem is.
True.
And the second thing is like, okay, well, now that I'm aware of these thoughts, I still have these thoughts buzzing around my head like a fucking beehive, right? And that's why I always say, like, if you're somebody who gets in bed at night and that's the first time you've been alone all day, and that's why your mind's racing like crazy and you can't sleep, it's because that's the first time all day you sat with yourself.
Yeah.
Right. That
Yeah.
is and there's no distractions, there's no light, and you're laying down in your bed, and now your mind's like, oh great, we got you finally, like, thanks for making time for us, we'd like to think about every fucking thing you haven't thought about in the last 10 years ago, right? Like, that's exactly what the mind does. So for my clients, like, I'm big on having them journal. I'm big on having them, go for mindful walks, or taking time to meditate. Like, but I think the biggest thing for somebody who, because I also need to recognize, like, not everybody has done this before. Most people are very resistant. Like I just made a post here today. Like, most people would rather run a fucking marathon than sit with themselves for 5 minutes, right? It's
I
like,
love that post. It's so fucking true.
so what I'll have people do is, like, let's say, because I went to a monastery retreat a couple months ago, and it was really amazing just to see like what monks do, right? And how they think and how they take themselves out of their headspace. So like basically the setup that they had is like the first thing you do is you go for like a mindful walk, right? And a mindful walk is basically, as we're walking, the monk goes, you know, think about how your steps are hitting the earth, right? Like, are your feet pounding the earth, right? Like, are you beating up the floor with your feet right now? She goes, now what I want you to do is softly touch the earth. She goes, like, kiss the earth with your feet, basically. And that little cue is just telling you, like, oh, like, walk smoother. Like, let me feel my heel hit the ground. Now let me feel my toe hit the ground, and repeat that pattern. And then she was just like, now what I want, like, she goes, I know I'm in my head too much if I can't hear the birds, right? So now you're like, oh, I'm listening to birds, right? I'm getting out of my own head, right? Because so all these things that she's cueing us to do is just to remove ourselves from ourselves, right? And to not get trapped in our thought patterns that ravage us and ravage us. So by softly touching the ground, by listening to the birds and the sounds around you, she goes, where do you feel the wind right now? And like, she goes, do you feel it going up against your forearm? Do you feel it against your neck? Like, so feeling, right? And smelling. So she took us through all these senses to get you out of your own head. And then the next thing that we did was we had a mindful eating, right? So literally we get our pho and we go sit down, and they had a silent eating for 5 minutes. And it was like the most awkward fucking 5 minutes of my life, because I'm just like, it's so crazy how we get in our heads so easily. And I've been doing this mental work for fucking years. So you'd think like, oh, he'll be fine. I'll get right into it. It'll be comfortable. It's like, cause you're like, oh, what are other people thinking about this? Like, are they looking at me? Am I getting judged? This feels awkward. And then like 2-3 minutes in, I'm just like, oh, like, this is hot, right? I noticed like, oh, it has like a umami taste. I noticed like the texture of the vegetables in my mouth. And again, like, it teaches you to mindfully eat and focus more on the present and what my body's doing, like my hand going into, like, dipping the spoon into the bowl. So it's like all these tactics people can do right now, right? And this is things I'll bring to my clients' attention, is like, what can we do to make you more present, to get you out of your head? Because the constant in motion things that we always do is just stacking up, whether it's stress, anxiety, sadness, loneliness. Like, we're constantly trying to avoid and create distance from what we really need to just focus on. and doing these small little things that we can do every day, that even if you're like a busy mom or anything like that, like if you're going for a walk or if you're eating like dinner or something like that, you can incorporate these small things just to create more awareness and attention. My man Aram is sick.
He's shaking his head.
I'm talking to you.
You should have seen Aram's face when Ryan said that. He's looking in bewilderment, like, just so I can clear my throat.
Jesus,
You know what I mean? Listen, it's okay. Some people turn their head further away from the microphone. Some don't.
I turned my head
kidding.
and coughed in the opposite direction outside of my house into the
But
wilderness.
nobody squeezed your balls as you did that. What a waste
Unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
Unbelievable. Zero fucking support at all.
We're just kidding. We love you. It's
You guys
listen.
don't
We're
care at all about
intimidated.
me.
We're intimidated by your manliness and your muscles. We're just insecure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
I ruined that.
That's
I ruined that.
basically like mindfulness and awareness and like practical things that people can do immediately without feeling very overwhelmed by like meditation or journaling or anything like that.
I like that. As you're saying that, I'm just thinking, be an observer of the human experience. Like do that more. We talk about how we're in such a distracted state, distracted living. When you're distracted, you're not observing your human experience. You're not paying attention to all the things that Ryan just described. And that, I think, those are fantastic pieces of advice and recommendations for how to get a little bit more in the moment and be present. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Like he was describing with eating for 5 minutes. It's going to be uncomfortable until it's not uncomfortable, until you start to enjoy it. Just like going to the gym, just like meal prepping, just like everything else. I was going to think of today, like how people, their first response thing is, I'm just not good at this. And it's like, well, why not? Well, because I've never done it before.
Right.
Do you hear yourself? Because you haven't. That's the only reason you're not good at it.
You should.
Because you haven't.
You shouldn't be good at it yet.
Yeah. So sometimes just like putting that mirror back on somebody even when they're saying those things. But yeah, that's awesome. I like those pieces of advice.
A quote that's really resonated with me this year is you can only measure what you're going to lose when you're making change, right? Like when there's a big change incoming, we can only measure what we're going to lose, right? Because that's our ego. Our ego is telling us you're gonna miss out on this, you're gonna miss out on this opportunity, you're no longer gonna have this comfort, you're no longer gonna have this security, right? Like, you won't, you're missing out on this food, you're missing out on this dish. It's like, but you can never measure what you're going to gain from a moment of change.
Yeah,
because the potential's unending.
It's infinite.
It's like Wall Street. You can lose your whole portfolio, but you have no idea how much you can gain.
Right. Exactly.
Unless
the stock market crashes. But
that's what I'm saying is that I have $1 million in the account. I can measure how much I can lose.
Right.
But you can't measure how much you can gain.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's a quote that's really resonated with me in terms of like my actions this year. It's like I can only see the next step, right? And that's anybody. You can only see that next step, right? And then when you take that step, you see the next one, you see the next one, you see the next one. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing is that everyone, we say this all the time, like just start is like the biggest advice any of us can give somebody is just fucking start.
Just start and just do it. Nike had it all figured out.
That's right.
What a great.
So basically what Ryan is saying, folks, for anybody's listening, I'll just paraphrase it. He's saying calories don't matter. He's saying you don't.
It's all about gut health.
Doesn't really matter if you train or not.
Right.
And really the only thing that does matter when it comes to losing fat is whether or not you journal.
Or if you can control the impact of your feet with the ground.
Got it. So calories don't matter, training is irrelevant, and if you journal, you lose fat. So folks, we unlocked the mystery of nutrition with Ryan Kassim. And that'll be $500 build up front for the next 6 months.
Something else I was thinking about the other day was when people do the work that Ryan's talking about, and people do start to really figure out their values, develop their self-worth, show up for themselves in that way, it changes the way that you physically view yourself. So even though nothing changes in a picture as you're doing this work, something very well may change in the mirror. You went from noticing all the things that you did not like about your body to starting to notice all the things you do like about your body. And that's the power of doing this type of work. There could be no physical change. Obviously, that will happen as you start to fall in love with yourself again and have less stress and not living in the future or the past and all that kind of stuff. But even if nothing changed, you start to view your body differently. And we've all experienced that. We've looked in the mirror. At one point of the day, we're like, oh, fuck, I'm looking good. I'm looking pretty good. And then later on, or the next day, you're like, oh, what the fuck? It's like, nothing's changed, you know? But like, we just look at ourselves and we see something different because of our mind's eye. So I'm in a place where, I think that stuff is the most important work to be done, because people will, even the ones who make progress, if they never do that stuff, they end up going back to their set point ahead of time, because it's the classic self-sabotage. Your brain wants what it's familiar with. And it was that body that you couldn't stand. It gave you something to complain about. And that cycle is just going to continue.
May I offer a little bit of a different perspective?
60% carbs? 60% carbs?
30% protein.
No, I think along with the journaling, you should do a little bit of cocaine.
I thought you were going to say weight training.
Just a tiny, just a little, just a bump. That's why it's called a bump. Just do a little, no, I'm kidding. I don't disagree with any of it, to be quite honest with you. I think the inner work is crucial, but I think there's also still fundamental misunderstandings of these simple physiological processes. So people don't
100%.
Understand the way that calories interact with their body. They don't know how to match their energy intake of calories with their energy output of training. So as much as we want to do the soft skill stuff, because I think it is really important, because if you can't ever stick to a plan unless you believe in yourself, because most people don't hire a coach because they don't believe they'll follow through. Like, that's why they don't give a shit about the money. They don't care about the fact that they're going to have to track food or send videos or check in. That's not the problem. The problem is that they don't believe that they're actually going to be able to A, follow through, and then B, get results. And that does come down to the soft skills stuff. But we have to figure out, and this is where I think systematizing our approach makes sense, because we have to have a system for the soft skills to some degree, to where we do have that open line of communication, and we can get to the bottom of why people are stressed and overwhelmed and anxious. And then we also have to be able to back that up with the hard science to prove. So basically, you acknowledge that somebody has a problem mentally, right? You have body image issues. Great. I'm going to show you, I'm going to pivot and tell you that the issue is not going to limit you. How? Because there's times that you put on an outfit and you do feel good. So it's not that you have a finite absolute body image issue that'll never go away. So that's not a problem. So we've proved it to you that it's a temporary issue that you certainly can combat depending on the mood that you have that day. And then we pivot that person away from that issue. And we say that you can have a body image issue, but we have proof that you have good days too. So let's lean on the good days and let's focus on those, because those are available to us as well. And then we reinforce when they have the good days. Hey, remember when you were feeling shitty in that outfit last week, but the last 2 days you felt great? Well, we now have proof that you don't have a body image issue that should be holding you back. So don't act as the person you were last week. Act as the person that you're feeling today. And now we can collect data on that. And now we can actually present all that in a nice package and say, you had this mental issue. We were able to pivot it. We were able to reinforce that it wasn't that big of a deal. And now you've just built more confidence. So I think there is a way to probably systematize and reinforce the soft skills. I just don't know that like anybody's really done it in a way that is good or replicable, because you have people like Jeb Stuart Johnston, and you have all these, either food relationship coaches or emotional eating coaches or body image coaches, that I think that work is valuable. But calories are always going to matter. Exercise activity is always going to matter. Non-exercise activity is going to matter. So I don't want to go down this rabbit hole and tell people that it's all in your head, when, yeah, most of it is. But then the science does fucking apply too. Like if you eat like a dumpster fire every single fucking day, I don't care how much you journal.
The point would be, though, because obviously I completely agree with you. When Ryan does too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, of course.
Let me see if I can speak. He's like, of course, it's fucking inarguable. But it's when somebody starts to view themselves a certain way, then they're ideally going to start treating themselves a certain way, and then it's like, there's more curiosity in life. Like I do need to treat myself well. And part of treating myself well, this is what I say, if health is one of my values, it's understanding calories and it's understanding movement. and I'm going to set goals that are actually in line with who I am right now. You know, like you get that, like exactly what Ryan was saying, like it's to meet you where you are. But these people come in and they want to be told what somebody else should be doing because they're not there yet. But it's like once you really kind of understand you and this is where I'm at, how can I serve me today? Then we have very clear metrics on food and the strategy that's going to work for them, whether it's, you know, hand portion sizes or weighing things, whatever that person feels most comfortable with, movement goals based on what their current movement is.
Yeah.
So I think that those things absolutely can go together. And that would be the difference versus the person who's just complying because they signed up and then they get used to it. They get sick of themselves. Their self-worth's not there and they self-sabotage where it's, I don't think that we're saying one is the only way to go, but by doing that stuff first and then incorporating the habits that are in line with your values, once you establish those, then they start to build that confidence and self-worth kind of all at the same time. Then you're at this place like, yo, you want to get hardcore with it and really start tracking away and everything? Like now that you're just kind of in this groove and you're super curious about how your body will respond to stuff. That's the part that's interesting. That's the stuff I'm trying to, like you said, like systemize, like how, you know, and that's what I'm working on. I want to combine these two things.
Yeah. I think
it's hard
to interject is, I think a lot of people assume it's like, oh, if I'm working on my mindset, then I'm only doing that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's, I mean, how I try to coach is like, it doesn't have to be one thing at once, right? Like, yes, we're obviously going to work on your mindset because we're having conversations all the time. And when you have conversations with somebody, then it's a constant work, right?
Yeah.
But you're also trying to get better healthy, right? They're trying to, like, Aram and I just did a live on how to improve your metabolic health, right?
Yeah,
And
sorry I
what that
couldn't make
actually
it.
looks like, what that means. Yeah. But I think it's not like just one thing or another, right? It's different things happen all at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like, as coaches, it's knowing what string to pull and oh, like this is the coach knows like this is the opportunity to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity to talk about your metabolic health. This is the opportunity to talk about your nutrition, right? And the cohesiveness of bringing all these things together, I think, is what makes the biggest difference in somebody's holistic health, right? Because my experience was I had the physical health, right? I was like in the best shape of my life. Like I was strong as hell. My body looked great, but I was mentally broken, right? So for me, it was like, oh, I had these puzzle pieces figured out, but I never addressed this mindset stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't until that I went through that journey as well to bring everything together that now you start to piece everything and it makes a lot more sense and everything feels more cohesive and it works in tandem.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's kind of what I would love people to take away is like, yes, you could work on all these things at once. It doesn't have to be one thing or another.
Because
and,
they feed each other.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You know, they feed each other. So it's like, hey, we're working on these things so that you can start having better mental health. Well, part of that might be going for these walks that you described. It's just that. It's just getting outside doing that. Maybe let's try to drink some more water so we're not so dehydrated and moody and depressed, you know. So those little things, those physical habits can absolutely, go on at the same time. I think it's a great point.
Absolutely.
Aram, can you just recap what Ryan just said?
I can. I have now 3 dogs in my apartment, and they're all barking at each other. So
Who's the thirds now? It's not Whitney again, is it?
No, it's a tiny little thing. I don't know. I'm starting to realize that dogs are better than children and adults, and their nutrition is really good.
Well, they just eat whatever you give them.
Correct. Is there a way that we can implement animal nutrition towards people? Oh, I saw something the other day, and I really am curious to hear your guys' take on it.
Good.
Apparently, there was a Scottish man back in, oh God, what was this guy's name? His name was
Scotland?
Angus. His name was Angus something.
Angus beef?
Oh, Angus Barbieri. Have you ever heard of this guy? Born in 1939, died in 1990. He fasted for 382 days. It was a medically monitored fast. He started at I think it was 460 pounds, whatever. I think it's 207 kilograms. And he finished the fast and he was at 180 pounds. And he actually fasted, like he did not eat solid food for 382 days, for a year and whatever that is, 20 days.
Wow.
And
Starvation mode, man. Starvation mode will get you.
And then he fucking lived until 1990.
So he was born in 1939.
39. So he was 51 years old.
That's not that long.
I mean, considering the fact that that half his life he spent at 460 pounds or more.
Well, I guess that's true.
That's pretty goddamn good.
He fasted for 382 days, all the way up to and including the day of his death.
No, but the crazy part is he lived.
Yeah, he lived for years afterwards.
He lived for years afterwards, so that's my way of saying hunger's not an emergency.
Yeah, he died in a skateboarding accident, I heard.
He was so thin that he was able to actually do a kickflip, and then he fell onto the board and crushed his larynx and died.
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah. Crushed one of his testicles.
But I think that's an important subject and an important concept when it comes to nutrition. Is this over prevalence of food that we have now, and how we've become, and it comes back down to just self-awareness and being able to sit with yourself, which people don't know how to do. Because what happens at night in that witching hour between after dinner and bedtime, that's when most people start to unravel. And why is that? It's usually because we don't want to sit with whatever's in our head. So we just start to soothe, and we eat, and then we watch Netflix, and then we eat some more. As opposed to just either, hey, I could probably shift my attention away from the stuff that's bothering me and be more productive about it. Or conversely, I probably should sit with this for a couple of minutes because it'll probably be a helpful exercise in me understanding that I'm okay and I'm going to be okay. And it's okay to not feel great all the time.
Nah, I'll just put the TV on.
Yeah, I'll just put the TV on and
And then complain I didn't sleep.
I'll slam through my kids' snacks, and then, a great day just went to complete shit, and it wasn't my fault.
But that's where it brings what you said together, like, and both you guys, you can do more things, multiple things at once. We are energy.
Yeah.
If we're not getting energy out physically during the day, it's got to get out somewhere, and that's going to be even more so in your mind at night. If you start pushing yourself physically during the day, you'll probably have less anxious thoughts.
Yep.
Once the room gets quiet.
Yeah. Well, that was always the toughest time. I mean, Ryan, you've been going through a tough time in your life, and you're starting to get on the other side of that. When I was going through my tough time, it's a bitch. I mean, and I always sympathize with people because I've been there. It's shitty to sit on your couch by yourself at 9:00 at night on a Friday night, and the tears are coming and the overwhelm is there, and you just want to just not feel it. But I think if you just could feel it for even a couple minutes, and if you just allow yourself to just feel how shitty it feels and realize that on the other end of that, you're not dead, nothing bad has really happened, and you'll be okay. Now you've just proven to yourself that you're capable of that hard stuff, and that the end of the world is not when you feel like shit. It's like you can actually still plow through it. It's not pleasant. It's very uncomfortable, but you'll survive. And then I think that's proof of concept that you can keep doing that. So I think that's really the takeaway that people should have is the mental health stuff is never going to get easier because shittier things and harder times.
You just get better managing.
Yeah. You just get,
what I mean?
And that's all it ever is. It's just managing because that's sometimes you excel. And sometimes all you can do is just manage. And I think if you can toggle between excel and manage, you're always net positive in life.
Yeah, I think people sometimes the messaging with this stuff, like do the work, and they see these people who are positive all the time. They think everybody knows like life's not just going to all of a sudden be perfect for you. So they're not believing it. And it's like, no, the people who do this, it doesn't change the possible circumstances. This was my post today. It doesn't change the possible circumstances that somebody's going to deal with. It just changes how you manage those circumstances. And I do think a lot of it goes back to being an observer of the human experience. Like when you're emotional upset, you sit and observe. Oh, so this is what this feels like. Not my life is crumbling. Yeah. Like when I got the blackout tattoo, I'm literally laying there going like, this is what it feels like. And I was able to check out mentally and sit there for 6.5 hours while freaking the dude's just, but I kept saying to myself, this is what it feels like. And if I ever started to get that wincing pain, as soon as I go, I'll be like, no, I'm not feeling that pain. I'm feeling what it feels like for somebody to get this. And I was able to separate. So it's interesting. This is what this human feeling feels like. And this is what I have to kind of deal with sometimes so that I can feel the good human feelings like foreplay and falling asleep before finishing.
That's right. Full circle. I mean, literally right before this podcast, like I set up a yoga mat in my closet, like Harry Potter style. And I literally just, I was feeling like you're talking about overwhelm. I was feeling like sadness, for me, it's like I know it's time to sit with myself when I have these very somatic feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like that tightness in my chest
Yep.
or lump in my throat or
Mhm.
pit in my stomach. So literally before this podcast, like I laid on my yoga mat, turned on a little yoga music, and then I just fucking cried for like
Yeah.
3 minutes. But kind of like you said, Ron, it's like you got to feel to heal, right? So like as soon as I let myself feel those things, I was just like, okay, now I'm in a better state to have a discussion, right? Now I'm in a better state to serve and help others, right? Because I filled my own cup, right? I think
And it didn't require you to change 90 different things about your day. It was literally a 5-minute exercise and removal from your element.
It was 38 minutes he did that for. Just so you know.
Well, it's like
he collected
for longer, bitch.
He filled up half a mason jar with his own
You
tears.
think that's my crying PR?
Yeah,
38 minutes.
Crying PR.
Yeah, but you should have a crying PR.
Right.
I'm all for it.
that.
I feel like, well, especially like with guys, obviously we're always taught to bottle everything up, and that's just kind of our default. And I think that's changing.
And then how does it come out when you don't feel these feelings? How does it get expressed?
You beat your children, or
you're angry. Men and women, all that kind of stuff. You're not. If you don't feel those feelings, it only ends up coming out in anger. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, but I think that's what it's going to do. It's going to be expressed as a misunderstood emotion, as an emotion that's uncharacteristic of who you really are, because you're just lashing out because you haven't actually taken the time to be
now
in that stillness.
Yeah, now
I'm in control. Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about like a lot of us have a lot of female clients who are moms. That's moms love to put the weight of the world on their shoulders and just keep trucking through shit until the 25th hour hits. And now they just want to rip every fucking strand of hair out and start crying and thinking that their world is going to explode. And it's because they don't allow that stuff to exit out of their body enough. They don't cry. They don't remove themselves from the situation. They don't talk to their spouse. They don't talk to their friends. They don't reach out for help. And then they wonder why this stuff is sitting inside their head, bubbling up. I had that exact same thing happen with a client of mine this morning. Second day after her consult, checked in on her. Hey, how you doing? And immediate overwhelm, panic. I got shit going on, blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is for me. Why isn't it for you? We haven't done anything yet. I'm not asking you to do anything yet. I'm just asking you how you're doing. And then after an exchange of text messages, and she was able to vent that stuff out and get it out of her head, she immediately felt calmer. She immediately felt some level of stillness and some control again. And all of that overwhelm washed away. And she realized like I was reacting to emotion versus controlling and managing emotion. You can't react to stuff. You have to take it as it comes, and there should be no reaction. Like give yourself 10 or 15 seconds to just get bombarded by it. Take it in the face, take it in the face, right all over your face.
I think 10 or 15 seconds.
And then grab a towel. And then just grab a towel. That's what you do.
Ryan, our guest was going to say something.
I was going to say, I think what you did for her is you just allowed her to be seen, right? I think that's so like that's all we want. At the end of the day, we all just want to feel seen and feel understood and just feel validated, right? Like even if, like you said, even if it's like a reactive emotion, the emotion they are feeling still is valid, right? And that's something that is not wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah,
so
it's just emotion. Emotion isn't wrong or right. It is what it is. There's no wrong or right to emotion. I mean,
exactly.
It's the older I get, the more I realize everything is context.
Ryan,
Everything.
what Aram didn't tell you is when she expressed that to him, he goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he held that space in a really good way for her, because then she got to explain what she was talking about, and she talked herself off the ledge. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I immediately demeaned her about the weight that she'd put on and all the issues she was having with her
I
spouse.
find that shame works really well for
Yes.
us.
I do.
Shame and guilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the two places that I really hold space for: is shame, guilt, ridicule.
Humiliation's a great one as well.
Humiliation's a great one, and if you
a
can,
coach knows when to use his tools.
Yeah.
If you can put a flog in there a little bit, just a nice light flogging of some kind.
So that's your plan for the week. Yeah, you've told me that before. Okay, let's see if you really do follow through this time. Jesus Christ, click.
Dominatrix coaching.
I like that.
It's messed up. Well, Ryan's ADD, I'm sure, is kicking in.
Ryan, you have to get back in the closet pretty soon after this
I was gonna say
Right.
that. When you were saying that, I was gonna say the same thing, Rob. I'm picturing I'm picturing not that closet, the cry closet. I'm picturing like, all right, like he's having this good time. He's like, all right, see you guys, and then just immediately starts crying on his way back to the yoga mat in the closet, and it's like this was just a pause in that, and he just immediately continues. Would be such an amazing thing. That would be the hidden camera in his room. It's just like him there walking over to record. It fast forwards and then it cuts right back to him going back to the closet.
You guys are like, bro, you didn't turn your camera off. You didn't tell me you get naked before you do that.
Can you do us a favor, Ryan? When we're all done with this and we wrap up, if you could just keep the camera on, move the chair.
Sure.
Just so we can get a shot of how awful that closet really is for you. And
is that the closet, the one right behind you?
Can I just show you now?
yeah, please.
Show me now.
Go ahead and just move the chair for us.
Cry closet.
If you can go ahead and just take your clothes off too, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
God, he is very stylish right now
He's
for
very
2:30. Very
Wow.
stylish.
There's not
all
a
right,
lot
now
of-
show us. Can you hear us? Very nice, right? I want to see him get into the position.
I don't think he's not a big guy, but there's not a lot of room in there.
No. How do you?
My cry closet.
Yeah. Do you? I was trying to ask to show us what position you get in when you do it.
Are you fetal or are you
I
your
lay back.
Okay.
I lay down.
Do
I
you
have a
lay
nice
back
pillow.
and you pull your knees next to your ears?
Of course.
So it's called a taint salutation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Salutation.
When you always point to the west. That's
Yeah.
what
We're in the West.
That's right.
So when you're
to the coast.
We're in the West. Technically, isn't everybody in the West? If it's round,
I don't know. I heard it was flat.
it is
Depends.
flat.
Yeah.
And remember, you should figure out which one you believe in because your life, it doesn't matter. Why does anybody give a fuck?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm doing mushroom caps tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
I remember when I was in fifth grade.
You never get high though.
You
finally had a trip?
we took a little ride on Friday last week.
Did you?
Oh
Finally.
yeah. It was a fresh batch, and
Okay.
yeah, the keyboard on the phone started talking to me a little bit.
Very cool. How much did you take?
I probably
2.
a gram and a half or 2, probably close to that.
Wow. Because every time we've talked, you're like, dude, I took like.
I
2
was
grams.
always.
I didn't feel anything.
Apparently, the mushrooms are 4 or 5 months old, and they weren't doing much anymore.
Well,
So
do an empty
I didn't know
stomach.
that was a thing.
Empty stomach is huge.
yeah. It had been probably 4 hours since I ate, so that probably helped.
Dude, next time you just like dump your capsules like into a little shot glass and just
Heat it up.
whatever. Just pour some juice in and then boom, just pound it and you'll be. I've never done it before, so I have no idea what this experience is like. But
Why do you think
I would
doing
say
that
just do
versus
that.
just eating the capsules?
Well, because then
to digest.
yeah, it's like getting in you quicker versus like the capsule having to break down. It takes like an hour and a half.
I'll just
It's
freebase
slower.
it.
I guess we're just jumping right to news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just freebase it.
Are you gonna smoke it? I don't know what freebase
No,
is.
no,
Is that
I'll
needles?
inject it. I'll
Yeah,
inject
that
it.
sounds
I'll
good.
go IM injection right into the glute.
All right, Ryan is completely mentally checked out right now. Right, guy?
You guys are. You might have more. I mean, I have ADHD, but I think you guys are.
Oh, it's a problem.
It's really more
Very-
I
we're
think,
very-
I think when I just go like this, I slowly like sink away.
Yeah, I was like, I'm looking
background, I'm
at, you're
just
like looking off like this and like adjusting. And I'm like, about 20 minutes ago, I'm like, he's definitely checked out.
I was like,
We're-
my battery just goes.
Ryan's like, I'm glad that I have had my 17 minutes of talking during this hour and
right.
20-minute thing.
Hey, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys.
No, I thought
mean,
that-
I love you guys. It's very.
Ryan, let's get pizza soon.
Yeah, we go to Prince Street.
Oh, let's make Jim feel left out.
Well, then why don't you move out of that
Jim
shithole
can-
state that
Jim
you live
can
in and
come.
move back here where real people live?
Yeah, well, all right.
Well, you talked about that thing in where is it? Montana or Wyoming? That
Yeah, the biscuits. Biscuits. That's what, mid-September, I think. September 13th,
Do you know what
14th.
the dates?
I think it's like
God,
13th, 14th, 15th, like that weekend.
That's Edmonton. That's Andrew Coates' event.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what you were saying. I'm flying down to South Carolina in July to see Biscuits with Jeb.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You and Jeb get to have some
I'm
fun
gonna
together.
I'm gonna see them in potentially Delaware on a Thursday night, AC on the Friday night, and then fly down Sunday and see them in South Carolina on Monday night.
He is a groupie, folks. He is a groupie of all groupies.
Dude, 10/28/23, Port Chester, New York, set 1.
Ooh, day before
That
my
describes
birthday.
me as a person.
Port Chester, New York. Do you know that's where I would finish
Port
my
Chester,
nights
yeah.
off? That's where I'd finish most of my nights off in Port Chester.
Yeah, dude, that show was
Really?
great.
What, you
First
take the
set.
ferry over?
No, I would just drive because it was Stanford was.
No, he
5
is the
minutes
ferry,
away.
Ryan.
So when the bars closed at 2 a.m. in Stanford, it was a 8 minute ride over the border, and obviously when you were drunk, that didn't feel like much.
What's that place across from Bridgeport that we take the ferry to?
Oh, Port Jefferson.
That's
Port
what I was
Jefferson.
thinking of.
Yeah, Port
Alright, so
Chester is.
you'd go to Westchester.
I go to Westchester. Yeah, I
Like
just
White
drive right over the
Plains.
border on the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
into White Plains, Westchester.
Yeah.
Let's ask Ryan his last question. Ryan, have you ever listened to a full episode of this?
No.
Oh, good. So we
This
like
is
to
it.
ask
Nobody climaxes. With our
Nobody
show.
will. It's perfect because we like to ask everybody a final question so that we can compare and judge you as a human to all of our other guests.
Excellent.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Bye.